that sound, I don't know if you guys can hear this in the background, is the sound of a rower from somebody who's missed weight. That's what's going down. Yeah, pretty interesting. Straight off the bat, Luke Michael missing weight.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Tumisang Madiba, who's had problems making bantamweight before, if I remember correctly. Yeah, interesting stuff. I don't know by the time you guys, what you'll see first, this or the actual weigh-ins, but yeah, have a look at the guys that have missed weight. It's interesting, and I know those boys that are waiting to play some bets might just change your mind.
The thing is, Tumi looked super lean at that stage, but I think how much you got to go? Like
not too much to go.
Yeah. And Luke's got 1.2 to go pounds. So
and Luke looked
a little bit
dehydrated. His speech was a bit soft, but yeah, hopefully they make weight comfortably and we get to see those fights.
Yeah.
At least we do know there's a very capable backup in Tresor.
Did Tresor weigh in today?
I don't think so. That's actually a good point. He should have actually.
He should have, yeah. Would have been good. I mean, I think everyone's pretty hyped up after the weigh-ins. There's some bad blood brewing between Temba and Luke. There was some off-screen stuff as well. So
yeah.
Sure, tomorrow night should be good, eh?
Couple of shots fired, so yeah. There was, I don't know what was said, to be honest, but it wasn't. They weren't discussing what was on the breakfast menu.
Yeah.
Put it to you that way. So yeah, should be super interesting. And in a bad blood fight, that's just about to make it a lot worse. You know what I mean? Temba looks focused. He looks ready.
He looks shredded to the max.
Yeah. He looks in good nick. He also looked a little bit dehydrated to me personally, but I guess that's to be expected at some point. But yeah, hell of a fight. What I want to ask you, we've spent the whole week, obviously, Don was on the show earlier this week, he discussed how and why each respective guy would win. In your opinion, what does Luke Michael have to do to win, and vice versa, what does Temba have to do to win?
Well, I think it's pretty simple. I mean, they've got, like Don said, they've got very similar games. Luke's got a very heavy top game. I'm not too sure about how strong he is off his back. I think there's going to be a big grappling affair between the two of them. I think you're going to see a lot of cage work as well, a lot of wrestling against the cage. But if I was Temba, I'd maybe strike from range, pick him apart, and then maybe finish it off with ground and pound at a later stage from the top position. Luke, I don't know. I think Luke's got his hands full tomorrow night. I think number one is he needs to get on top early and he needs to stay on top. Okay. I think that's the key for victory for him. Maybe push Temba up against the cage and just work him from there. But yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting affair. I don't know how much the fans are going to enjoy tomorrow night's main event. I think it's going to be a very technical thing, but it's going to, for a lot of people that are in the sport, it's going to be very entertaining. I'm not sure if the casual fan is going to be as entertained by the type of fight that's going to take place.
So you predict a lot of cage work, a lot of clinching, like battles for takedowns, that kind of thing. And if it goes according to plan, maybe Temba working at an outside sort of range, trying to pick him apart.
Temba's very long, very long.
Very, very tall. I think that was one of the things I noticed when they stood on the scale. I mean, Temba puts his arm up. His reach is insane, man. He's got long arms. He's definitely, and that's where most people think Luke Michael will have the most difficulties actually in the technical stand-up. We obviously know his strength is on the ground, and that's what he'll be looking for, and his top game will be key. Like, seems to be the kind of underlying content for Luke Michael. If he can get that top position and if he can keep it, that's where he wins that fight.
And Temba isn't a newbie to these big fights, you know. I mean, people forget he fought Joe Cummings and beat Joe when there was a lot of hype behind Joe. He also had the fight against Leon, which unfortunately didn't go his way. But he's been in these moments already. You know, this isn't foreign to him. Whereas Luke hasn't quite been in these moments yet. So it'll be interesting to see how he rises to the occasion. For someone that hasn't been there before, these things can be quite daunting, you know, with all the focus on you, everyone's waiting for the main event. Missed weight, a lot of pressure. So we'll see what happens, eh?
Cool. Obviously the co-main is a bit interesting, the light heavyweight, Quinton Rousseau and newcomer Simon Biong. It's quite hard to talk about that fight because we don't know much about Simon Biong. We've seen Quinton Rousseau overcome a lot of adversity already in his young career. What we do know about Simon Biong is that he's a physical specimen. That's what we do know.
So today was the first day I got to see him, and you were telling me about like how big he is.
He's a beast.
The videos and photos don't do it any justice. Man is massive.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Quinton's no small fella himself, and Simon made him look very small today.
He's like the quintessential African athlete. He's shredded, he's tall, he looks very strong. So yeah, interesting fight that one. It's going to be, and you know, a guy like Quentin Rousseau who's been like a proper plus boykie. That strength comes for free. You know? So it should be pretty interesting. Moving down the line, we've got. So I just saw Tumisang Madiba walk past versus Lutando Biko. Tumisang also having a couple of weight issues. I think that's what we could hear in the background was him trying to get that weight on point. How much of effect will that have against a guy like Lutando Biko who's going to grind you, wrestle you, put you on the ground? Having to do this extra bit of work to cut weight, how much is that going to impact that fight?
Any weight cut affects your cardiovascular capacity. I mean, you basically, when you're doing these weight cuts, you are trying to manage the effects of the weight cut. So the better the weight cut, the less effect it has.
Sure.
But if you're going to cut any weight, it's going to have an effect on your cardiovascular output. So yeah, I think it is a bit of a concern for him. But I am extremely excited for that fight. I think that has fight of the night written all over it. You know, Tumisang likes to get in your face, and Lutando, I mean, he's had some great fights, especially the JP fight recently was an entertaining fight. So yeah, I think Tumisang will be okay though. I mean, this is his 20th fight in the UFC.
Sure.
He's a seasoned veteran. He's made the bantamweight cut before. But yeah, I think that's going to be fight of the night for me.
Interesting. Then the two vet of all veterans, Billy Cox and Dino Bagatine. We saw the Waynes get a little bit heated. I don't know what was said. Again, it wasn't about the breakfast menu. A lot of people expecting this all-out stand and trade bloody war. Do you think that's what we're going to see?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what's on the cards for tomorrow night. I've never seen Dino back down in a fight. You know, I think he's going to be in your face. I think PT is also a similar type of guy. He just wants to get stuck in. On a side note, PT did look surprisingly a lot better in physical shape. It looks like he's
also what I said to you from the Waynes, the face-offs. He looked in way better shape than his previous fight.
So he's definitely taken this, picked up a notch for this fight. And Dino, he's an old dog. He's never one to shy away from a scrap. So once again, I think fireworks there. But my money's still on the Tumisang Lutando fight for fight of the night.
Interesting. So
I think it's going to be a quick one for Dino PT. I don't think we're going to round 2 tomorrow night.
Interesting. Any betting men out there? As always, Warren
Bet the
guarantees
house.
your money back.
Bet the house.
And then we'll just quickly breeze over the last fight on the main card, which was pushed up. Zach Badat coming in, getting moved up to face Stefan Pretorius in the main card. Cracking fight, and I got to speak to Stefan Pretorius. He's just obviously going up a weight class, a one and done kind of thing. Physicality was something we spoke about. Two very, very physical guys. We obviously know Zach Badat comes with a serious jiu-jitsu reputation. How do you see that one playing out? From what we've seen from Stefan Pretorius, he's no slouch on the ground as well. So do you predict a very grappling heavy fight?
Oh, definitely. I think both guys are going to get it to the ground. If I was Stefan though, I would stay at range and try and use my kicks a lot more. Try and not get under Zach, because Zach's top pressure is incredible. In fairness to both of them, they're both middleweights that have just pretty much agreed to fight at light heavyweight, so we don't have to cut weight, which is I think it's a good idea if everyone can agree on it. But yeah, if I was Stefan, I'd keep it striking, stay at range, throw a lot of kicks. Zach wants to get him up against the cage, onto the ground, get on top, and just use his ground and pound and his jiu-jitsu. So I foresee Zach being a little bit too much physically. I mean, you saw him at the Waynes today. He's looking in phenomenal shape.
Beast,
but it's going to be an interesting fight. I mean, you never know with these things. Stefan had a great outing against Lyle, and he showed a lot of heart there. He showed he's a gamer. So I think you never know with these things. I personally wouldn't bet on that fight. It's a bit of an unknown, you know.
Cool. I think that's it. EFC82, September 28th. That's Saturday. Make sure you tune in.
Main card, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. As for now.
For now.
Might change. Cool. See you then. Ciao.
Cheers, guys.